Welcome to Breaking Down Mental Health with Dr. Jones. In these educational videos, Dr. Jones will discuss mental health diagnosis, clinical supervision, using technology in counseling, multiculturalism, and many other topics to help you get a healthy understanding of why mental health is important. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button if you enjoy these videos.
This deep dive, crafted with the aid of AI tools for clarity, draws directly from the insights and research of Dr. Michael Jones.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something really reshaping mental health practice.
Absolutely.
Professional boundaries and social media policies in telemental health. It's a critical area. And navigating it properly is just essential now.
It really is.
Okay, let's unpack this. This huge shift to telemental health, especially over the last few years, it's completely changed how professionals think about and, maintain those therapeutic boundaries.
Yeah, it's a whole new ballgame.
Suddenly, the digital world just blurs lines that used to seem so clear. It opens up a whole set of new challenges, doesn't it?
It really does. And what's fascinating is this concept, some call it boundary permeability.
Boundary permeability. Okay, tell me more.
Well, think of it like this. Traditionally, the walls of your therapy office, they're pretty solid, right? Containing that professional relationship.
Right. Physical walls. Exactly. But online, those walls become, incredibly porous. Clients can easily find your digital presence outside sessions, maybe public social media, old profiles.
Ah, okay. I see.
And that constant potential for peeking, you could say, it can subtly, almost unconsciously, start to erode that professional space if we're not, really careful.
That's a great way to put it, porous walls.
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to equip you, our listeners, with the essential knowledge and, importantly, the ethical guidance to navigate these digital landscapes effectively and ethically, of course.
That's the goal.
Now, when we talk boundaries, our traditional frameworks were built for face-to-face.
Pretty much, yeah.
But now, with everything from video sessions to online groups, those old frameworks need a serious upgrade.
Absolutely. The core ethical principle, from guidelines like the American Counseling Association's Code of Ethics, Section 8.5, basically it says avoid roles, avoid relationships that could cloud your judgment or put a client at risk.
Okay, standard stuff, but
here's the key. This principle now stretches to all your digital interactions. Social media, emails, your whole virtual footprint, it's all included.
right.
The real challenge isn't the principle itself, it's consistently applying it across so many different platforms where those natural in-person cues just aren't there.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because the language we use, the terms, they're crucial. So let's define some of these core ideas that shape how we understand digital boundaries.
Good idea. A great starting point. First, the therapeutic frame.
Okay.
Think of it as the invisible, consistent container around your sessions. It's the structure, the boundaries that keep the relationship professional neutral.
Like the session time, the setting.
Exactly. And in virtual settings, you have to consciously adapt this frame to keep that container intact. It doesn't happen automatically.
Got it. What's next?
Then there's technological mediation. It sounds complex, but it's just about how the platform itself, the screen, the app, the internet influences your communication. Well, they're not just clear windows. They act like filters. They can subtly shift power dynamics, maybe make it harder to feel truly present with someone.
Yeah.
Think about how, say, a quick chat message feels totally different from a formal email. That casualness can sometimes unintentionally blur the professional lines.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned boundaries earlier.
Yeah.
Crossing versus violating them. That distinction feels super important online, maybe even more so. Things can escalate fast. Could you break those down?
Absolutely. Good point. So a boundary crossing, think of it as a departure from how we usually do things, but it might or might not actually benefit the client.
Okay.
It's often brief, maybe a bit flexible, like maybe sharing a tiny personal anecdote to build rapport if you're having sudden tech issues.
It's like a human moment.
Exactly. Or maybe adjusting a session time slightly because the client's internet crashed. It's usually intentional, hopefully helpful, and not inherently harmful.
Okay. And a violation.
A boundary violation is different. It's a serious departure that definitively puts the client or the therapy itself at significant risk.
That sounds serious.
It is.
Yeah.
This includes things like getting into any kind of personal virtual relationship with the current client, period.
Right.
Or a very specific example from, say, the NBCC guidelines, accessing a client's social media accounts without their explicit permission and a clear, documented clinical reason.
Okay, so just looking them up casually is out.
Absolutely. That's a serious no-go.
Got it. What other terms should we know?
Well, moving on, there's digital dual relationship is pretty much what it sounds like.
Multiple roles online.
Yep. You, as the professional, end up in more than one role with a client through online platforms or social media, like being their therapist and also their friend on Facebook, for example.
Which we just said is generally a violation.
With current clients, yes, it typically falls into violation territory or serious risk. Now, contrast that with a professional virtual relationship. This is your standard therapeutic relationship, just conducted through secure digital platforms. But, crucially, with clearly established boundaries and protocols that keep it firmly professional.
So the structure is key.
The structure and the clarity. And finally, digital communication ethics. This is the umbrella term for all the ethical rules guiding our professional interactions online.
So privacy, confidentiality.
Exactly. Privacy, confidentiality, professional integrity, all that stuff. Specifically applied to emails, texts, video calls, everything electronic.
Okay, that's a really solid foundation of terms. But, knowing the terms is one thing. How do professionals actually do this? Especially with something like social media, which is everywhere.
Great question. That's where having a clear written social media policy is non-negotiable. Professional bodies like the NBCC actually require it.
They mandate a written policy.
Yes. Mental health professionals need specific written policies about using social media with clients. Think of it as your blueprint.
So what should be in that blueprint?
Key things. It needs to state clearly that professional accounts can never be linked to personal ones. Any content you post professionally. It should only relate to your services, advocacy, education, things like that.
Not your vacation photos.
Definitely not. The goal is always preventing those digital dual relationships or accidentally revealing confidential information.
Makes sense.
Practically, this means you need to be meticulous about your privacy settings, lock down your personal stuff so clients can't stumble across it.
All right.
And it means absolutely avoiding connecting with current clients on any personal social media. Just don't do it.
Okay. What about protecting client privacy in what you post?
Crucial point. Stringent confidentiality safeguards. Never, ever publish anything identifiable about a client on any social media without their explicit written consent. Full stop.
And you need to guide clients too.
Yes, you're responsible for advising them on using secure communication methods, not just random email or texting, and informing them about the inherent risks of digital tech. Nothing online is 100% secure.
So this policy isn't just a document you file away.
Not at all. It needs to be deeply integrated into your informed consent process, right from the start.
What does that look like in the consent form?
It means clearly explaining your social media boundaries, discussing the risks and limitations of interacting there, outlining your specific policy on whether you look at their social media,
Okay.
clarifying their rights about their own digital privacy, and even spelling out the consequences if those boundaries get crossed or violated. It's all about transparency, mutual understanding.
So policies are the blueprint, informed consent sets the stage. But what about the day-to-day digital communication? And, those emergencies that can pop up online. How do we set practical expectations there?
Yeah, the day-to-day stuff. That's where clear communication guidelines become essential. Professional standards, like the NBCC code again, require practitioners to define appropriate communication methods and specify realistic response times.
Okay, so no instant replies expected at midnight.
Exactly, and part of that is always using secure HIPAA compliant platforms, not just regular email or text for clinical matters.
HIPAA compliant. Got it.
And maintaining a professional tone and boundaries in all digital communications, even a quick portal message. And of course, rigorously documenting all client communications.
Okay, so what about emergencies versus just routine questions?
You need a clear protocol for both. For emergencies, first, define what constitutes a crisis in your practice. Make that clear.
So clients know when to use the emergency channel.
Precisely. Provide alternative, clear contact methods for those situations, maybe a crisis line or specific instructions. Establish protocols for after-hours emergency response. And crucially, give clients local emergency services info during their orientation.
Very important. And for routine stuff?
For routine, non-emergency communication. Specify your business hours. Set clear expectations for response times, like within 24 business hours, for example. Clarify what topics are okay for between session contact.
Like scheduling, maybe.
Scheduling, brief clarifications perhaps, but also set limits on the frequency or length of these non-emergency contacts. It shouldn't become therapy via email.
Right, maintains the frame.
Exactly. Clear communication about session protocols, privacy, technology requirements. It's all fundamental for maintaining those boundaries and making sure clients feel comfortable and secure.
Okay, this raises a really important question for me. How do we spot potential boundary issues early on, in the digital space, before they spiral? The red flags might look different online, right?
You're absolutely right. The warning signs of, let's call it boundary erosion, can be subtle online.
Like what?
Think about increased frequency of between-session messages from a client. Or maybe they start sharing very personal stuff outside of sessions via email. Or they try to connect with you on your personal social media.
Okay, those seem clear.
Or on the flip side, if you feel tempted to, discreetly look up a client's social media without a clear clinical reason and their permission, that's a warning sign for yourself.
Okay. Self-monitoring is key too.
Absolutely. Recognizing these shifts early is crucial for proactive intervention.
So what do you do if you spot one of these signs?
This is where regular consultation and supervision protocols are just invaluable.
Talking it through.
Yes. Regularly discussing digital boundary maintenance with your supervisor or trusted colleagues, seeking case consultation immediately if a concern arises, and thoroughly documenting everything, the issue, your decisions, any interventions.
Documentation is always key.
Always. If you notice a potential boundary concern, the response needs to be swift. Immediate consultation, meticulous documentation, and then an appropriate, clear discussion with the client about maintaining those professional boundaries.
Addressing it directly with the client.
Yes, carefully and professionally. And in my view, one of the most powerful tools we have is actually proactive client education.
Educate them from the start.
Exactly. Effective boundary education isn't just a formality you check off. It involves clearly explaining the limits of the professional relationship, giving clients clear guidance on appropriate digital communication.
Like we discussed with the policies.
Right. Discussing your social media policies transparently and really exploring their expectations about digital access to you. What do they think is okay?
Getting their perspective.
It builds that shared understanding. It actually empowers clients to be partners in keeping the therapeutic relationship appropriate and ethical.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, thinking bigger picture. Beyond the individual relationship, how might things like cultural differences or even just where someone lives complicate this digital boundary management? It feels like this global shift must bring global nuances.
Oh, absolutely. They complicate it significantly. Professional boundaries aren't universal, right? They vary quite a bit across cultures.
How does digital play into that?
Well, digital platforms can amplify these differences. You might see varying comfort levels with technology itself, different expectations for how accessible a professional should be online.
Like different norms around response times?
Exactly, or just different understandings of what counts as professional versus personal. This means we, as practitioners, need strong cultural competence in our digital communication while still upholding our core ethical standards. It's a balance.
And geography. Does that still matter if we're not physically close?
It does, interestingly, maybe differently. For instance, practitioners in small or rural communities might still face unique digital challenges because social and professional roles overlap more easily, even online. It might be harder to avoid seeing clients in online community groups, for example.
Oh.
Urban practitioners might face different issues, maybe more anonymity, but also potentially more exposure across multiple platforms where lines can blur.
So different contexts, different digital challenges.
The key insight, I think, is that because physical proximity is gone as a sort of natural boundary, we have to be intentionally and meticulously establishing professional limits online, no matter the community context.
So it sounds like while tech removes old barriers, it really demands we build new, stronger, more intentional ones.
That's a perfect way to put it. Ultimately, these boundaries and policies in telemental health, they have to keep adapting. But they must stay firmly grounded in our established ethical codes.
Like the ACA code you mentioned.
Right. The ACA code explicitly says non-professional interactions apply to electronic contexts too. That gives us a solid ethical foundation.
And looking forward, training.
Yes, definitely. Looking ahead, the KCREP 2024 standards, that's KAYCREP, They really emphasize the need for counselor training programs to tackle technology's impact head-on, including ethics and boundaries.
So future counselors are better prepared.
Hopefully, yes, prepared from day one, because telemental health is evolving so fast. Ongoing research, adapting best practices, constant evaluation, it's all non-negotiable now.
We have to keep learning.
We have to. Regular updates to policies, ongoing professional development, training on new technologies and how they might impact therapy. It's about making sure our boundary management evolves right alongside the tech.
Wow. This has been a truly illuminating deep dive. Professional boundaries, social media, telemental health. It's clear it's all about finding that essential balance, isn't it? Embracing the benefits of tech while holding firm on ethical integrity.
It really is. And maybe a final thought for listeners to ponder.
Please.
As technology continues to reshape our professional landscapes, how might proactively shaping our digital ethical framework become as crucial, if not maybe even more so, than our clinical skills?
That's a powerful question to sit with. Thank you. As you, our listeners, think about today's topic, consider these questions. First, how might the principles discussed today show up in your current work or role, particularly regarding your own digital presence? And second, what, if anything, might you want to approach differently moving forward to strengthen your professional boundaries in digital contexts? This deep dive was created using generative AI tools to support accessibility and clarity. The content is grounded in the research and instructional work of Dr. Michael Jones. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive, and we invite you to continue your learning journey.